One of the frequently asked questions on this channel about doing business in China or with China is about the location of the company. Many people, most often than not, they confuse Hong Kong with mainland China and vice versa. So when they are thinking about the location where they should register their company, then they just come across with this question: is it going to be Hong Kong or is it going to be mainland China, and why? Why not? So we discussed about this topic many times in different videos before, but in this video, I'd like to mention a few more important elements. Maybe they're going to be useful for you when making a decision on this topic. So first of all, let's clarify one thing. Hong Kong, although politically it's considered a special administrative region of China, SAR, S-A-R, Hong Kong, it's a different jurisdiction from China, mainland China. In mainland China, there is a different legal system, and in Hong Kong, there's a different legal system, which is based on common law, British law. And because of these differences in law, the registered companies in Hong Kong, they are considered as foreign entities in mainland China. And therefore, it doesn't enjoy the same rights and benefits just like the companies registered in mainland China, and vice versa. So take an example. A Hong Kong company wishes to purchase goods from China and then export to other countries. So in this process, yes, it can directly pay to the factories or supplies in mainland China, but it does not have the right to directly export those goods from mainland China. Okay, it has to use local Chinese companies, whether it's supplier's export license or some third company. Okay, there are a bunch of trading companies that provide this export or purchasing services or procurement services, and they usually use their own license when exporting. Okay, in the documentation they use their own documents because, again, Hong Kong company is a foreign entity in mainland China. Yes, between Hong Kong and mainland China there are a bunch of agreements that make it very attractive to register a company in Hong Kong when doing business with China. But all those agreements, they don't give you the same exact rights as mainland China companies, okay? And another example is a Hong Kong company does not give you the right to have a work visa in China, simply because, again, it's a different country, okay? By law, different jurisdiction. So you can invest in your Hong Kong company and possibly apply for work visa there in Hong Kong. But you, as a company owner or company executive of a Hong Kong company, you don't have the right to apply for work visa in mainland China directly. If you wish so, you will have to register an entity, maybe a subsidiary of your Hong Kong company in mainland China. And then you can apply for work visa, work permit, and residence permit using this subsidiary company. All right. Another example is Hong Kong companies, when they are purchasing goods from mainland China and exporting to other countries, they cannot apply for VAT refund, okay, which is something that very attractive, attractive element to register a company in mainland China. We talked about this before briefly. If a mainland China company exports made in China products, this company can apply for up to 13% VAT refund from the total amount of the exports. And that law is applicable to all these mainland China companies. It doesn't apply to Hong Kong registered companies. So if your intention is to do this VAT refund and take advantage of this policy, then you cannot use your Hong Kong company. All right. So again, you need to consider registering a company in mainland China. And let's talk about some of the elements you need to consider for mainland China companies. Now, I talked about this before many times. This is one very strange situation regarding mainland China companies is mainland China company cannot source products from outside of China and then export them to third countries or other countries other than China. For illustration purposes, let's say that mainland China company, if you're the owner of this company, you have a client from, let's say, India, and you find the product, let's say, in the US, okay? So your intention is to buy the product from the US and then export it to India. In this scenario, you cannot use your mainland China company. simply because it's not allowed. When you approach the bank with the payment instructions, you want to pay to the US supplier. The bank is going to ask you for import documents. Automatically, they assume that you are using this mainland China company to import goods into China. But your intention is different. You want to buy the products and then get it exported from the US directly to India. All right. So in this scenario, bank is going to stop you. They will not let you transfer these funds to pay the supplier in the US, because your intention is not to import the goods, but the intention is to sell to another country, right? So this is a very, very strange, maybe it's slightly different situation from other countries' laws and policies. In Hong Kong, it doesn't exist. In Hong Kong, you can use this Hong Kong limited company, or in the US as well, you can use your LLC to source products from one country and sell it to another country. And bank is not going to stop you from doing so, and also the tax offices, they're not going to question you. But in China, in mainland China, first of all, the bank is going to put a block, put a restriction on transferring the funds to this country, to the supplier, and then the questions will come from the tax office as well. So as you can see, this is one downside. Another downside about registering a company in mainland China is actually this fresh new policy, which is regarding the registered capital of a Chinese company. Registered capital until 2024 actually was something that you write on the company's license, and then the injection time frame has been, it was actually around 50 years. That is the validity of the business license of a mainland China company. But recently, starting from this year, 2024, government decreased this time frame dramatically. Now, according to the new policy, you have 5 years to inject this registered capital. Let's assume you write down 100K or 200K, 300K USD, or even 100K yuan, RMB, on the business license of your China mainland company. Now, like I said, according to the new policy, you have only 5 years to inject this capital. And the minimum amount, yes, it can be as low as 10,000 yuan even, and then yes, you have to inject that amount within 5-year period. But the lower you go, the worse it gets for your business here, because registered capital directly affects your future agreements, directly affects your future partnerships. So in other words, if you write down your registered capital, very low amount, maybe like 10,000 yuan, 20,000 yuan, or even 10,000 USD, then your future contracts are going to be affected by that, because your future potential clients or potential partners, they're going to check your registered capital in the system, which is a common public system in China. So when they see that registered capital is very low, they are less likely to sign an agreement with you. Why? Because the registered capital amount, it defines the liability of the shareholders. All right, just like any other country. So in China, the company that you register here, it's called wholly foreign owned enterprise, but it's a limited liability company. So limited liability is defined by the amount of capital additional to the shares you're holding. So for example, you're the sole owner of the company, right? You own this company 100%. Now, how you define your liability towards your partners, bank or investors, it is with the registered capital amount, an injected capital amount. Okay, first you write down the registered capital, and then the injection comes in, right? So if it's only 10,000 yuan, this much liability you have in the company, okay? And that's kind of, it gives a red flag to your future potential, partners or even suppliers sometimes, because some big names, if you want to sign an agreement with them, to become a agent or distributor for them, they will check immediately how much liability you have, okay, through this registered capital. So if they see that the amount is very small, they will not talk to you. They will not discuss the terms for, being a distributor, etc. So therefore, this is one element. Maybe it's for like established companies, putting a, $500,000 registered capital is not an issue. But for startups, for starting people, or even starting companies, this amount might be a little bit big, or they might not have access to such amount. Even within the 5-year period, they have to really carefully plan the cash flow. Okay, So another element, maybe this is a good point actually, just like I explained regarding Hong Kong, if you register a company in mainland China, obviously this is a gateway for you in terms of visa. Then you will be able to, as a company director or supervisor of the company, you will be able to apply for work permit and residence permit based on your company ownership. And of course, based on the position you have in the company. So you can take the director's role or supervisor's role, or if there are more people in the company, you can assign yourself a different role, based on your qualifications. And this point, actually, the visa point or relocation point, I think it's one of the more attractive or the most attractive points regarding China registered companies, because, like I explained before, if you compare China's policy in terms of immigration, it's so far is a bit less restrictive, meaning that you can register a company, and then if you qualify, like you need to have minimum bachelor's degree, and then non-criminal background check, 2-year work experience, and then of course office in China, apartment in China, rented, then you can apply for work permit. For example, compare the same situation in Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, the conditions are not like that. In Hong Kong, you register a company, then applying for work visa through the company requires substantial investment. Usually it's approximately 250,000 USD investment. You need to invest, and then on top of that, you need to provide evidence that you are, very important, executive for the company, and similar, maybe employees cannot be found in Hong Kong. So you have these unique skills, and you bring something to the table, and of course you have to demonstrate that through the documentation, through investment, etc. Only after that, your work permit might be approved. And bear in mind, it's like, in China, it's almost like guaranteed. If you qualify, it's almost guaranteed 95%, 99% you will get approved for work permit. But in Hong Kong and a bunch of other countries, that's not the situation. All right. So you have to prove yourself. You have to demonstrate that, uniqueness in your application on top of the investment. Okay. And of course, for mainland China, again, the advantage of having a company here, that 13% VAT refund, just like we explained. In Hong Kong, or using this Hong Kong company, you don't have the right to do so in mainland China. But if you have a mainland China company, then that's something you can do. You export made in China products to other countries directly using your mainland China company, and it's import and export permits. And then from the total amount of exports, you are entitled to apply for up to 13% VAT back to yourself. If you, for example, export 100,000 worth of goods, then you're entitled to apply for 13% back from this 100,000 USD. And government the tax office is going to directly inject that amount back to your company. Okay. And yeah, like I mentioned in many videos before, this is something a lot of our clients take advantage of, to actually win over their competitors in their respective countries. Why? Because simply, most of the competitors, if they don't have a company in mainland China, what they do is they buy a product and then they mark it up, okay, put their own profits and logistics, etc., and then they sell in those markets. But if you have a company in China, what you can do is you can buy this product, okay, maybe add just the logistics part, but you don't mark up the product, okay? You sell it exactly on the same price. And what do? Your profit is that VAT refund that you get back from the government. Okay. So yeah, besides that, of course, there are a bunch of other elements maybe applicable to your own specific situation. So what we do is basically when you contact us for company registration, we talk to you, discuss your intentions, your plans, and your situation. And then based on that, we can tell you which location is good for you. All right, Hong Kong, or mainland China, or even both. Sometimes if you want to register a mother company in Hong Kong and then child company subsidiary in mainland China. So that's actually one of the more practical solutions actually for people or companies who are doing with China regularly. But again, we need to really consider your specific situation and circumstances. So once again, it's been Jasur from JR & Firm. We are a corporate consultancy company based in Shanghai with offices in Tashkent, Uzbekistan, and also location in the US. We provide a lot of corporate consultancy services, starting from company formation, liquidation, structuring, restructuring, special licenses, and also bilingual agreements. Dispute resolution in China, we have lawyers here. So feel free to contact us. If you have any questions, leave in the comment section below. I will be glad to address them one by one. If you want to talk to me, schedule a Zoom call. You can check our website here. There's a section for booking a call. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.